There were some hard moments in that game, but we embraced the adversity and we have found a way. That's all that matters right now. That's all that matters right now. How about that championship defense? Defense. We talked about him, Stafford, and we hit him from the beginning all the way to the end. That was an unbelievable job. Guys, we were able to run the football in the conditions, and we found a way. Right? All that did for me, besides put this chain on me, thank you, Chauncey, is made me hungry. I'm so fucking hungry. And I know you guys feel the same way. I love you guys. All right, let's go do this. We got business to finish.
All right, that was the head ball coach. And he said it. He said it as we welcome you back to the Sports Bash here on 97.3 ESPN. Ryan Rothstein filling in for Mike Gill. We're going to bring Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City into the conversation in just a second as we are live at the Gallery Sportsbook here, Fanatic Sportsbook inside Ocean Casino in Atlantic City. 609-403-0973. That's the text board. We'll get to your text after this conversation with Mike McGarry. Let's bring him in now as we have a lot to get to. The defense, outstanding. A little bit too close for comfort. Questionable play call that resulted in a Jalen Hurts sack late in that game. Got the ball back to Matthew Stafford and the Rams. They start driving down the field, and it had a Falcons divisional round feel to it. The Super Bowl year with Nick Foles, where it just went through Julio Jones' hands in the back of the end zone. Eagles skate by with a victory. It ended up being that type of game for the Eagles, but they advanced. Mike McGarry, thanks for joining us as always, man. I pose this question to the listeners to start, and we'll throw it your way as well. Your one takeaway following the Eagles' win is what?
Jalen Carter might just be the most dominant player in the defensive player in the NFL right now, and Saquon Barkley, is one of the best and most dominant offensive players in the NFL right now. And when you have two guys like that, both of whom made tremendous plays at the highest, most important moments yesterday, you're going to have a pretty good football team. I mean, I can't get over the fact that Jalen Carter was on the field for 68 of the Rams' 70 offensive snaps. To me, for a defensive tackle, a defensive interior guy to pull that off, incredible. And obviously the plays he made were really game-saving because, like you said, at 28-15, that should have been a rocking chair victory for the Philadelphia Eagles. But it turned out to be a nerve-wracking last couple of minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, let's start with one of the concerns here that I feel like it's deja vu. We touched on this last time we spoke. But the passing attack with Jalen Hurts, right? 15 for 20 against the Rams, 128 passing yards, no passing touchdowns, but he took care of the football like he always seems to do. Jalen, that is. He did take way too many sacks, which brought the net passing down to 65 total yards. Is that a concern, or is that something at this point where it's like that's actually the recipe for success and it's not a concern?
Last week I kind of brushed it aside. I said he was coming back off the concussion. It might have been some rust. This week, as we talk here on this Monday at 2:35, mark me down as officially concerned. Now, you're exactly right. He didn't turn the football over. We saw this weekend what happens when the quarterback turns it over. And Jared Goff in Detroit, Lamar Jackson of Baltimore, they turned it over, and they're, going golfing today while Jalen Hurts is preparing for the NFC title game. But mark me down as concerned. Now, I don't know if he doesn't take all those sacks. Maybe he forces a throw. Maybe he does commit turnovers, so maybe that's what he's doing. But he has not played well the past 2 weeks, and I think that is a concern going into Sunday. And the other concern I have is the kicker. The kicker is, he keeps missing field goals. Yesterday it was extra points. So far the Eagles have survived it. I mean, sooner or later, one of his missed kicks is going to cost the Eagles. So mark me down as highly concerned, checking that box on both the quarterback and the kicker.
I just want to add this. I know PG wants to jump in, but with the kicker, I don't necessarily disagree, but something to point out here. He's 22 for 22 lifetime field goals in the playoffs. He had 2 huge field goals yesterday in those conditions. So I'm not trying to gloss over the extra point misses yesterday, But at the end of the day, he's never missed a field goal in the postseason, and he had 2 huge clutch ones in that weather yesterday as well, McGarry.
Yeah, I agree with that, but just the inconsistency bothers me, and I'm just concerned he's going to miss an extra point at the wrong time, miss a field goal at the wrong time, and that's going to cost them. So, yeah, I mean, look, this team is humming along. This team has a lot of positives. We talked about 2 of them, Barkley and Carter, off the top. But if you're going to ask me what concerns me, I'm concerned about the quarterback and kicker. I'm not going to brush it aside the way I did last Monday.
Mike, let me ask you about A.J. Brown. 2 catches, 14 yards yesterday. Only has 6 catches in his last 3 games. He did have that costly drop on the back shoulder throw from Jalen, which was a great throw. Dropped another one on a slant. But are you concerned about A.J. Brown? After the game, he kind of was really a great teammate, great leader, had the stuff last week. But are you concerned about A.J. Brown in these next 1, maybe 2 games?
No, I'm not really concerned about it. From this perspective, you mentioned the drop. If he catches that ball, maybe we think better about Hurts and both A.J. Brown in the game, right, if he comes up with that catch. He caught a big slant late. That slant, he's such a weapon on the slant. My concern with A.J. Brown is I'd like to see them incorporate that play a little bit more than they have so far this season. I think he's so big and such a weapon on that slant. They made a big completion late in the game yesterday for it. I'd like to see a little bit more of that. So I'd like to see A.J. Brown more involved. But, hey, guys, when you have a running back like Barkley and you have a defense that is playing like the Eagles' defense is playing, I just think the numbers of the receivers are going to dip down a little bit because you're handing the ball off and you're playing defense. You're kind of winning the old-fashioned way, and, you're not going to put those gaudy pass numbers up. So, yeah, I'd like to see a few more slants to A.J. Brown, but I'm not worried about A.J. Brown, doing something that could cost you a game on Sunday. I am worried about that with the kicker and the quarterback.
Going back to the offense, Mike, does it seem like the play calling doesn't really have a strong grasp on how to kind of move the ball with Jalen Hurts? It seems like they want to get the passing game going, but also at the same time they really don't want to get the passing game going. Do you feel like Kellen Moore still doesn't have a stranglehold on how to play call for Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, I think they're trying to find a balance, right? But Barkley is such a weapon, and he has a tendency to go, run the ball for 2 yards, run the ball for 2 yards, run the ball for 70 yards. I was putting it out on X yesterday. Give him the ball, give him the ball, give him the ball. The only play calling, obviously, issue is the pass they attempted there late in the fourth quarter when they, why are they passing? Why are they getting sacked there? Why are not they giving the ball to Barkley there in that situation? That was peculiar to me. And obviously it didn't work and could have cost them the game passively. But, you look, I think what they need from Jalen Hurts is timely passes and timely runs. He gave him the timely run yesterday with the run to give him the lead early in the game. But his passing worries me, particularly how long he holds the football in the pocket and how many sacks he's taking. If only for his own health. We saw him get banged up yesterday. I mean, how many of these hits can he keep taking and keep getting up? That's the other issue with getting hit and getting sacked like this all the time.
Yeah, and a lot of it's his own doing. He's holding on to the ball for so long, and he ends up taking those hits. It's not like it's the D-line's having a field day against the Eagles' offensive line and their protection. So it's just it's a little bit of a head-scratcher as Mike McGarry joins us here from the Press of Atlantic City. The Eagles win at home, and now, just like everyone in the world anticipated, the Eagles have a home game for the NFC Championship as they welcome in the obvious opponent, the 7-seeded Washington Commanders. And let's look ahead for a second before we let you run here, Mike. Scary is a word I could use to describe this Washington team and the offense led by rookie sensation Jaden Daniels. The kid doesn't realize he should be this good, which is part of what makes them so scary. So give us your initial gut feel for how this one will go Sunday at the Link. Do the Eagles need to put up 31 to win? Do you think it's going to be a lower scoring game? How do you feel about it today?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I haven't really decided, what type of game it's going to be, but I think you use the perfect word there when you say scary, okay? Division opponent, third time you played them this season. You played them a couple of weeks ago. They know you. You know them. Could it be an advantage to the Eagles, the fact that they're seeing Jaden Daniels for the third time? Could it be an advantage for the Commanders that they're seeing Jalen Carter and that Eagles defense for the third time? I just think wacky things can happen when division teams get together in the playoffs, and I think wacky things can happen when you're playing for the third time, and wacky things seem to happen when Washington and Philadelphia plays. Even when Washington wasn't very good and Philadelphia was the best team in the division, it just seemed every time the Eagles played the games are a little wacky or some stuff happened. So, yeah, it's scary because what are you facing? You're facing a quarterback on a roll, a team on a roll, a team with momentum, a team that is well coached with Dan Quinn, and a team that maybe, has a little bit of, magic carpet ride. Nobody believes in us type of thing. So, Washington's going to come in here and play carefree. They don't have any pressure on them. Nobody even expected them to get there. While the Eagles right now are expected to go to the Super Bowl. So how is that pressure going to impact both teams on Sunday? I think it's a fascinating game. I don't have a feeling one way or the other, but I think you use the perfect word when describing it from the Eagles' perspective. That is scary.
It is scary, but I'd rather be scared than heading to a fishing trip in Cancun. So
Exactly.
We'll see. Mike McGarry, Press of AC, at AC Press McGarry, does an excellent job. I always enjoy our conversations. Make sure you're following him. He has a finger on the pulse of all your local high school sports as well. It is hoops time in the South Jersey area, so a lot of good storylines there. Make sure you're following everything that Mike McGarry's putting out for the Press of Atlantic City, and we'll catch up with him soon as we start to discuss and break down the Washington Commanders coming into Philly for the NFC title game. Mike McGarry, thank you so much, man.
All right, thanks, guys. We'll see you down the road. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Mike.